They can make them light or heavy, transform them at will. But even with these powers, you still have to actively use them to make things happen. It's like taking a boat or a car. You need that extra step. It's faster and better, but you still have to do it. Otherwise, you won't get where you want to go. That's why we say contemplating the body as impure. This body is a burden. You have to move it around. Plus, the four elements themselves are inherently impure. So, what's truly pure is when you can do whatever you want with no obstacles at all. You just think it and it happens. There's purity. No one likes to carry around a burden. Buddhas and bodhisattvas are different from us. They manifest a body like an ordinary person, only to benefit sentient beings. Because if they didn't, ordinary people with physical eyes couldn't see them. They are not dragged down by this body. They use it to help others and simply discard it and take another when needed. But ordinary people treat this burdened body like a treasure. That's why we contemplated the body as impure, to clearly see what is pure and what is not. From the Hinayana perspective, this body has nothing lovable about it. It's entirely impure. From the Mahayana view, bodhisattvas only manifest a body to meet the needs of sentient beings. It's not that they need it themselves. They can manifest anything, yet they don't cling to anything. They have no attachment. It's purely for the benefit of others. If you define something as pleasurable and cling to the idea, it actually becomes suffering, because once you see as pleasure, you start rejecting the impure or polluted state of sentient beings. Then you won't be able to liberate them, and you won't attain Buddhahood. That itself is suffering. For example, if you develop attachment or craving toward anything, suffering will shortly follow. But if you have no attachment and simply manifest things when needed, like putting on clothes when you need them and taking more when you don't, there is no suffering. The moment you start clinging to something or someone, that's when suffering begins. So it's this attachment and clinging that cause you to constantly feel things, yet in reality, they only bring you pain. Sometimes the suffering is your karmic retribution. It's something you must endure. When that karmic result manifests, you can't just choose not to feel it. You have no choice but to slowly experience it and taste it. People might tell you, if you don't feel this pain, you will feel better. But you can't do that because it's your karmic consequence. It's not under your control. However, for highly accomplished practitioners, they can choose not to fully experience it. Take the second patriarch Hui Ke. When he cut off his arm, he didn't feel the pain because he was in a state of genuine repentance. He had previously struck his teacher Bodhidharma with that very arm. So he chopped it off as true repentance. Of course, he still felt the pain physically, but his will was extraordinarily drawn. It may have looked like he wasn't in pain, but in reality, it was his powerful result that allowed him to bear it, not that the pain itself was absent. Whether the Buddha felt pain when he sacrificed himself for sentient beings depends on whether he had broken through the form aggregates. According to the Shuragama Sutra, once you break through the form aggregate, there is no pain, even if your body is cut by knives or burned by fire. It also requires deep meditation, concentration. When you thoroughly recognize and see that all sensations are inherently suffering, you can pass this test. If you cannot see it clearly, you cannot pass this barrier. So true insight, genuinely contemplation means you directly perceive there is suffering. Take gluttony, for example. You love eating certain foods, and many illnesses come from that very craving. Isn't there suffering? If you don't have food, you can't think about anything else. Your mind is constantly searching something to eat. That's suffering too. So whether you have food or not, you are suffering. With food, you eat until you get sick. Without food, your mind is tormented by craving. Where it come from? It comes from your attachment to the sensation of eating. This is often the suffering of not getting what you want. Even when you do get it, you keep eating until you become ill. If you crave a particular taste, very salty or very sweet, and eat more than your body needs, it becomes a burden. Over time, your body breaks down. If you only eat what you like and avoid what you don't, you miss its essential nutrient. You may feel satisfied but actually not nourished. Your body lacks what it truly needs, even though you're happily eating what you love. When we observed the mind and consciousness, they never stop changing and roaming around. In China, there is a saying, the heart is like a monkey, the mind like a wild horse. The mind is just like that, constantly restless, always jumping from one thing to another, never able to stay still for even a moment. Sometimes you keep chasing after your thoughts and feelings, and you feel painful and exhausting, but you still can't stop because you feel a habit in childhood. It's like practicing a skill until you become automatically effortless. The Shuragama Sutra tells the story of Yagnidatta. Once he awakened and realized all these thoughts are just delusion in his mind with no real substance, he simply stopped following them. The very stopping is enlightenment. Stopping proves you awaken. Chasing these random thoughts is meaningless. If you look closely, none of them are real. They are all made up by the mind. You need to carefully examine how these thoughts are fabricated, what they actually face are, and compare them. You will see that constantly chasing this mental fabrication is harmful. It only leads to more and greater negative karma and prevents you from anything good. True awakening means you naturally stop. If you can't stop, it shows you haven't truly awakened yet. When you really awakened, you stop, and stopping itself is awakening. If you could truly understand things just by thinking about them in your mind, then you wouldn't need to think at all. Since you don't understand, no matter how much you think about it, you still won't get it. You will just piling the mistake upon mistake. It's like when you ruin something good, it's because you follow your own ideas and for it wrong. Once you mess it up, it's broken. So when you encounter something you don't understand, thinking is useless. If someone understands, they naturally understand. If you don't, then go learn. Study the wisdom of the Buddhist teachings or ask someone wiser than you. Buddhists and Bodhisattvas never relied on thinking to see things. They know everything exactly as it is, directly and truly, without the slightest distortion. If we don't yet have the Buddha's ability to know everything exactly as it is, then we shouldn't stick there thinking with our brains. We should quickly stop practicing until we can know things directly and truly. From now on, stop using your own mental fabrications. Instead, apply only this direct knowing. The Buddha emphasized this knowing at things as they truly are many times across different sutras from many different angles and levels. Because all these thoughts in people's mind are completely false. The things they actually is just made up by you. How could it possibly lead to correct understanding? You need to thoroughly realize they are wrong. Only then will you stop following these thoughts, because they are impermanent and constantly changing. If you don't see them as wrong, it's very hard to break through. But once you clearly see that they're mistaken, you won't dare follow them anymore, because the moment you trace them, you go wrong, and that mistake will harm you. On top of that mistake, you will keep creating more karma through speech, through actions of body, and the chain reality becomes even wider and greater. Then the obstacles, suffering, and disaster you face in the future will be even more severe. Everything comes from the mind. The mind is the root. All these thoughts are wrong. If you repeatedly examine them, you will see clearly that every single one of them is mistaken. Know what you know and admit all you don't know. Stop making or guessing wildly. No matter how wasteful your thoughts sound, they are always wrong. If you don't yet understand how harmful this is, you keep trusting your own thinking. These thoughts are like dust, like fields on the mind. The key of breaking through is simple. You must know they are wrong. You can verify this one by one. Every thought is mistaken. What can guarantee you're not wrong? Only knowing things as it truly are. But this directly knowing is very difficult when you have no supernatural powers. If you only listen to what others say, their words will always have errors and lies, and there will be deviation from the truth. If you believe what you hear, you will definitely go wrong. Even what you see with your own eyes, if you think I saw it, it must be true. That too is certainly mistaken. When Sudana was told by spiritual teacher to jump off cliff when he saw a fire, he immediately thought, either the fought my death or burned to death. He fully believed his own thinking and concluded this couldn't be a good teacher. No real teacher would ask someone to kill themselves. As long as you define things as good or bad, right or wrong, you're already mistaken. If Sadhana hadn't guided and benefited by these wise teachers, that step by step you won't commit the same error. But after receiving benefit, he stopped trusting his own judgments. For us, without that wisdom, we shouldn't deliberately interpret others' actions as even good or bad. Those are just our own false guesses. Know what you know, and admit what you don't. What you see and hear, you still don't truly know, because you don't know the real intention or the final result. Seeing is believing is also false. Everything we see is just light reflecting in our eyes and being interpreted by the brain. Visible light is only a tiny fraction of the entire spectrum. Most light we can't see at all, so how can we claim seeing is believing? The same goes for sounds. What we hear is only a small part of the sound spectrum. Ultrasound, infrasound, infrared, ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays. We can't perceive any of them, yet they all exist. Just because we can't see or hear something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That's why we are bound to make mistakes. The moment we label something as right or wrong, good or bad, we've already gone wrong. If you want to deeply understand this point, watch the Japanese film Rashomon.
If it's something you heard through someone else, should you believe it or not? Benny says it depends on what kind of karma you want to create. If you want to cultivate the karma of trusting others, then no matter whether what the other person says is right or wrong, good or bad. You can just believe it. If you want to cultivate the karma of doubting, then you can doubt everything regardless. So it all comes down to what kind of karma you want to create for yourself. But this is actually not what we're talking about. We were talking about observing and discovering what your own mind is impermanent and unreliable. This is about your mind, not about what others say. Any story or interpretation your mind creates is already wrong. For example, if you hear what someone says and then start thinking about it in your head, and that thinking itself is already mistaken. If you don't add any interpretation, if you just take it as it is, that's correct. The moment you start thinking and adjusting, you are already gone wrong. This is why in daily life, misunderstandings are almost inevitable, whether we talk to anyone, because we always add our own meaning to their words. This is the Rashomon phenomenon. In the movie, everyone tells a completely different story about the same event. Only the monk sees things clearly. That's why you should understand what when people speak, they are rarely telling you the original facts. They are telling you their versions of events. If you keep listening to all these added layers, you will never know what actually happened. So when others tell you things, just listen lightly. Don't take it too seriously. Everyone is trapped in this Rashomon state. If someone needs your help and you can help, just help them. If they need you to do something, just do it. Don't overthink whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, and don't keep trying to figure things out, because with our ordinary minds, we can't truly understand. We think we are figuring it out, but we are really just adding our own labels, judgments, and definitions. Those labels aren't the truth. They are just our own projections. The thing is just a thing. The moment we try to connect everything with our thoughts and interpretations, we start fabricating stories out of nothing. Those stories have little to do with the actual facts, but we still believe they are the truth. For example, if someone is very greedy with food, I might want to figure out why they are so greedy. But what does it have to do with you, whether others are greedy or not? Never try to figure things out, because the more you want to figure them out, the more you never will. The more you dig, the more confused you become, and you will definitely get it wrong. You have to explore and realize this for yourselves. The higher your level of awakening, the more errors you will discover. When you become fully awakened, you will see that all human overthinking and wide thoughts do not contain even the slightest possibility of being right. They are inevitably wrong. There is no such thing as possible right. It's always wrong. For instance, when you analyze and find faults in others, that too is something you fabricated in your own mind. You have no way to accurately know whether others are right or wrong. Thinking everyone else is right is fabrication. Thinking everyone else is wrong is also just your mind weaving stories. It's all your own thoughts spinning and fabricating back and forth. Only when you truly elevate yourself and can see the truth, the things exactly as they are, will you stop making mistakes. Otherwise, you will keep being wrong all the way down the line. You will definitely continue to be wrong. The disciple asks, if someone keeps trying to figure things out and they can't understand, will they eventually become mentally disranked? Master reply, this itself is already a kind of illness. Only people with mental problems would do that. In a normal, healthy person wouldn't act this way. Speaking of the movie, that monk was kind because he didn't force definitions on who was right and who are wrong. Also, when the young person was desperately trying with all his strength to protect the baby, there was his kind heart. Next, what is form? Form refers to all material things. For example, the body is composed of 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and wind. Color, form, means physical form. These 4 elements are not me, the consciousness and mind that I fabricate and mess around with. That's all randomly made up. Basically, it's not me. In the end, no matter how much you search, you cannot find a single I. This is called contemplating the impermanence of all phenomena. For example, these 4 elements and all the thoughts in our minds are not the true me, yet we keep fabricating stories about things. We make up all kind of scenarios. For instance, I might see a person and start thinking, is this person male or female? I can't tell. Then my mind starts fabricating. She should be female, right? A moment later, maybe he's actually male. Then again, perhaps this person is neither male or not female. While thinking, I keep looking for evidence to attach to my thought to prove whether the person is male or female. In the end, I firmly conclude, this person is neither male nor female. So whether you think someone is male, female, or neither, it's all just your mind spinning stories back and forth. It takes something right in front of you and then fabricates endlessly on top of it. In the Himalaya, nothing is truly real. Once you realize I, the self, the task is complete. Therefore, when one attains realization and becomes an arhat, one has broken through the attachment to self. Once you attain arhatship and there is no longer any I, then all great hatred, wide thoughts, and chronic doubts toward the self naturally disappear. The 4 elements, earth, water, fire, and wind, are not me. Even this self-nature is not me, because self-nature is absolute. Whether we say there is a self or there is no self, both are relevant. Therefore, it's called contemplating the Dharma of no self. It's like a screen. The screen is just a screen. You cannot say that the words displayed on it are the screen, and that the back parts are not the screen. Nor can you say that the blank space is the screen and the part with words are not. Whether there are words or no words, it's still the screen. Even if you play a movie on it right now, it's still the screen. Thus, the screen is absolute, while the words, images, and movies is appearing on it are all relevant. This is the Mahayana way of contemplating all phenomena without self. Next part says, for example, I know the 10 wholesome days, 10 know their results are good, but I've already created 10 evil deeds. So now I have to eliminate the 10 evil deeds. I have to diligently and vigorously eliminate the 10 evil deeds. That is called right effort. Using right effort to adore oneself, for example, constantly and correctly, diligently cleaning out one's own evil habits, this dirty garbage, that is using right effort to adorn oneself. If they are good deeds, then hurry up and create the 10 wholesome deeds. Of course, the good here is not just the 10 wholesome deeds, it includes all good deeds. So there are another one about divine's foot adornment. This, if we express in English, the word interest is more appropriate. So this means your interest is the greatest, is unique and supreme is that without the thing, for example, with our grade for eating, for the matter of eating, our interest is the greatest, then missing even one meal wouldn't do. So in eating, we have this kind of diligence. Unfortunately, we are using it in the wrong place. It should be used in the Dharma's study. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you so much.
Our physical body is not free.